Hi Megan, how are you? I am so sorry. I've been so busy. I'm traveling all around, so I pulled the jerk move again and made you guys wait, and I feel yucky about it. But I'm just gonna jump right in and zip through this with you. Okay, so first image. I love this image, and I remember that you said about it that you had one where they both were looking at the camera, but that you love this one better, and it's like obvious why you did. The connection is real and raw, and there's that energy happening because they actually are doing some kind of movement in this photo, so I think it's beautiful. Plus, your exposure here is like perfect. Love it, love it, love it. This is the kind of exposures that I want to keep seeing from you because there's no blown spots. The only spot that's bright, too little too bright, is maybe here and then maybe in the background, but I'm not worried about the background because it's white. It's not a big deal, but her face, maybe right here, it's a little bit bright, so you could tone down a little bit more, but for the most part, you've got great light in their eyes. Your focus is beautiful. I love it. Um, let's see, where is the edit on that one? Or was that the edit? I can't. With the 6 images, I'm so sorry. I kind of mess around. Megan 1, SOOC, Megan 1. Oh, you made it a black and white, and it's beautiful. Totally beautiful. Now, I know you say you don't use Photoshop, and that makes sense, and you want your photos to look real and true. And if you want your photos to look real and true, you might step away from presets unless, I can't remember if you said those are presets that you set yourself, but I don't think that they work for every image. Sometimes they do and it's beautiful, but sometimes they push it too far and they make your images start to look not true to life, which is exactly what you don't want. I'm going to talk more about that when I get to another color image. I love this as a black and white. I think it's beautiful. The only thing I would want to change about this image is I wish that the elbow wasn't chopped right there. It's a little bit of an awkward chop, and their eyes, kind of them as the focus, they're kind of the center of the picture. Now, with someone like you are shooting for emotion and the moment. Like, that's just naturally your drive, and that's what I love about you. It's my favorite thing about you. So you're going to just have to drill yourself and remind yourself to strategically place your subjects and you so that you get the best possible composition. For the most part, you do that, but sometimes you get a little too close. This one, I would have liked to see you step back a little bit and have them a little bit more to the left. Let's go on to number 2. Okay, beautiful laugh. She's gorgeous. Holy cow. Um, it's a great image. The feeling is great, and it's so real. And I'm like dying to know what you said to get her to laugh like this. But the focus is off, and I don't know how you feel about that. I think that, at the stages where you're at, I think you need to be a technical stickler. Um, and then when we look at your edit on that one, 3, 1, 2. I remember the edit being, shoot, why don't I have the edit right there? But your edit's really bright. Like you must have used a preset, but you made it way, way, way bright. Since this image is already kind of exposed to the right, it's pretty bright already, the natural exposure. The only thing I would have done, which you can do in Lightroom, you can just bring up the blacks a little bit. In Photoshop, you do it by bringing up levels and just kind of sliding over. Let's see. Yeah, so that was it before. That's me bringing in the blacks just a little bit. And then if you wanted to brighten it, you can boost the midtones, which you can also do in Lightroom. You did something where you made it super, super bright, and it totally blew out her forehead right here. And I think you like bright and airy images, but I want you to be a little bit more careful and watch your skin tones when you brighten things up. You don't want to push them too far. And even though this image is such great emotion, and that's probably why you kept it and showed it to me, her eyes being out of focus, it's if they printed this big, then that would be kind of an issue. And it's up to you to decide if you're okay with that. But it's one of those little things that once you adhere to those things for the most part, it kind of sets you apart from other photographers that you're, you know what you're doing. So let's go on to your third image. And again, she's dead center here, which I actually think kind of works for this image. But watch that, because that's 2 images in a row where they are dead center. And again, your emotion is so great, and since that's what you're focused on, you have to pinch yourself and say, dang it, Megan, you know, push yourself to like step back or reposition her or get yourself in the position that you want before you say that thing to make her laugh so beautifully like that. Oh, I love this image. This image is so perfect. I love how the horizon's above her head. I love the motion of the water. That makes the image. Her arms, how it's so natural, her cute curly hair. It's the sky, it's beautiful. Like beautiful, beautiful job. I love it. The only thing, again, she's dead center. I think it's okay here, but watch it because you're doing it a bunch. Her feet are cut off. I think it would be, obviously this was in the moment. Um, but again, the more and more you practice and be aware of it, the more you can keep yourself from making those little mistakes like chopping feet. It's a secondary thing. It's not your first concern. Your first concern is capturing, the authenticity of what's happening, but it'll make you that much of a stronger photographer if you watch those kind of things. So that's the only thing I would change about this image, is that her feet are chopped. Everything else, ugh, freaking love it. Good job. I'm jealous of this. And your exposure looks good here. You're straight out of camera. I love that we kept tones in the water and even in the sky and the boats. It's just, I would want this, if I were mom or even an aunt, I would want this on my wall because of the freedom, like that free, beautiful feeling it makes me feel. So good job. Good job. This one is a good image. I'm sure the owner loves it because they love how they're looking at each other. That's hilarious. It's awesome. This is the one I was thinking in mind when I said that your edit, your preset, if you look at the original, the grass, it's like a nice natural color. And then with your edit, it took things to kind of an unrealistic realm. And one good check to check for that as you're editing is look what happened to her jeans. You would never see jeans in real life that look like that color. And whatever preset you're using for some of your color images, it's taking your jeans to this kind of nuclear area, and it did it with your grass too. That's not super flattering, in my opinion. Now, that if you love it, you love it. It's fine. But like, since it's my job to kind of rip you apart here and give you feedback, that's the thing that's bugging me. The other thing is, this looks like it's shot with your 2470, and so you've got some definite distortion, which in this case it might be flattering for I'm just gonna call her mom here. But it makes the image, because it's not, to make the distortion work here, I would have liked to see you down low, and then they would have had this kind of larger than life, like cool angle type of feeling here, because it's like straight on and she's got this going right through her head. It just looks kind of weird. It looks like you had to do it really quick. It doesn't look like an intentional decision to me. But again, the thing that I notice in every single one of your images is that the emotion, like the feel and the soul of the image, is dead on every single time. You just have to um, be a little bit more intentional about some of the other things. But that's the kind of stuff that can be taught. Um, I love that you're shooting with your heart and you're shooting what makes you excited, and not everyone can do that. So it's such a gift. I'm gonna go on. Again, I feel like you processed it a little too bright. You blew her out here and on her arm and even her face. Um, in Lightroom, if you're using Lightroom, when I use Lightroom, almost the only thing I do is I add a little contrast and I brighten a little bit, and sometimes I do a little vignette. That's basically it in Lightroom for me. So I'm not saturating my colors really, hardly ever. And I would suggest that you do the same. You can still keep your workflow really fast, and it will keep your images looking really natural. On to number 5. So beautiful, beautiful focus, beautiful moment. I love it as a black and white. Again, you're pushing the limits with exposure. His head's at what, 252, 253. If that's your thing, I know I keep repeating myself, but if that's your thing, then just disregard me. I do think that your work would be stronger and carry the mood even better if you if you didn't have your images quite so bright. Still, you can keep them light and airy, but just not quite as bright because you might run into troubles with your printer when mom and dad go to print these. But again, like her laughing and him like being such a boy and focusing on his trains. This doesn't look like it was like a super easy situation to shoot, and this is family, if I remember correctly from your write-up. So I love that you took a really real everyday moment and you turned it into a work of art, because that's what this looks like. It doesn't look like just a snapshot to me. It looks like um, honestly good documentary photography, like photojournalism type stuff. So really, really good job on that. I really love this image. I wouldn't do that much. I actually wouldn't change this image at all. I like the composition. You didn't do any weird chopping here. You could have chopped her a little lower, but it doesn't bug me. You didn't chop off her elbow or fingers or anything. I can see all of his limbs. The only thing is I just don't want it to be as bright. Your black and white looks good to me. I want it to be a little more rich, and you know I like light and airy, but I don't like it when it feels like his head is hot there. It's like a hot spot. But overall, good. This one's such a perfect shot. I'm gonna look at the SOC, the straight out of camera first. Okay, so because she's got that kind of bright window light on her leg there, again, you can see how it's blown. See when the red value over here? Watch this R when I go and put the pointer over her calf. See how it gets into the 255 range? 255 means there's no detail there. That means it's blown, and that means it's going to print funny. And then on her skirt here, too, it's just a little too bright. You could have brought it down a little more. Plus, that would have sped up your shutter speed a little bit, and she might have been a little sharper. As far as like the image though, like the composition is brilliant. Her little toes, brilliant. Your images have just so much feeling. Like I feel like we're kindred spirit in that way, because you're shooting the things that I would want to shoot if I were there. It's just, I think you need to rein yourself in technically on brightness, because then when you look at how processed it is, it's hard. Because I actually love how bright and vivid this image is. I just want it toned down like 2 notches. Like that's it, Megan. I think that's all you need to do, not to make her not so bright, not blown here, and not blown right here. I like how the color got vivid, but when it gets to the point where, oh, it looks oversaturated, like just a hair, then it's kind of an insult to you and your talent, and it doesn't have the same natural vibe that you said that you wanted. Um, but again, that's a preference thing, so let me know what your preference is. Let's see. I feel like I missed one. I feel like I didn't get through all of your images. Maybe I did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What was 2? Yep. 3. Yep. 4. Okay, yeah, we did get through them all. Overall, big improvement. Big improvement on a couple of little things that we talked about, like compositionally and not chopping. For the most part, you did way, way better there. You're still a little bit overexposed, more than I want to see. And that's what I want you to work on, as well as like trying to like pinch yourself and remind yourself, Megan, step back. Megan, don't cut there. Megan, like be purposeful about this composition. But like the bottom line is that you have the eye, you have the heart, and you have the vision. You just need to kind of like, knock yourself around a little bit to remind yourself that you gotta like technically like still play within the rules to some extent. Okay? Okay, Megan, thank you.